Gentlemen, got a lot of things to talk about. First thing that I wanted to kind of tee off the episode with was this story about Philadelphia reinstating mask mandates. So this article that I have and everything that I talk about is going to be linked in the show notes if you want to read the articles in length. Is a USA Today article, starts off saying less than a month after mask mandates were lifted across the country, the city of Philadelphia announced Monday that it would reinstate a mandate next week amid a 50% increase in reported COVID-19 cases in the past 10 days. So this is the result of the COVID-19 BA.2 Omicron subvariant, which is responsible for 86% of current COVID cases in the United States. This variant is supposedly more contagious than Omicron variant, which was more contagious than the Delta variant, which was more contagious than the Alpha strain of the virus, which was very contagious to begin with. And thankfully, this new version appears to be less severe in terms of symptoms than the Omicron variant, which was less severe in symptoms than the Delta variant, which was less severe in symptoms than the Alpha strain of COVID. In fact, this variant is being nicknamed the stealth variant because a lot of people who have it don't even know that they have it. So, Jim, a 50% uptick in this version of the virus that a lot of people won't even know that they have is resulting in, the mask mandates coming back. Seem like a bit of an overreaction. What do you think?
50% uptick in this variant and 1,000% uptick in my annoyance at all this BS. I mean, they're just never going to get the boot off our neck, are they? They're just never going to stop this stuff. Study after study shows that masks have little to no effect on the spread of COVID-19 this entire time, no matter what variant you have. States, countries, cities that relaxed mask mandates or didn't have them at all, and people just walking around as normal human beings, had no real increase in infection rates or hospitalization rates or anything. It's all about control, and it's like it's unrelenting, and it is just so damn depressing. I mean, I was taking notes. This is going to be a really fun podcast, by the way, everybody. I got to tell you, because I was taking notes this morning on what we're talking about. Inflation, the economy is absolutely in the crapper. All of my notes.
Didn't we talk about that last?
That's in my notes. I was going to address that. But this mask stuff. It's like I have to go. I'm taking a flight in May. In about, I don't know, what is that now? 4 weeks. In about a month, I'll be getting on an airplane. I am dreading it because the Biden administration extended. They were supposed to end the mask mandate on public transportation in the United States was supposed to end on Friday, Good Friday, tomorrow, as we're recording this. They extended it for another 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, they'll extend it for another 2 weeks.
Right.
And then they'll extend it for another 2 weeks. I mean, it doesn't matter what the science says, so-called party of science just keeps making us put face diapers on and not see each other, not see each other smile, not interact as humans. It's cruel. It really is cruel. And at this point, you just have to come to the conclusion that the cruelty is the point, that this is intended to break you and to make you more compliant to whatever their wishes are in any other endeavor. And, we've been saying this for 2 years. You have to just not comply. You have to say, screw you, I'm not putting it on. When you go to the grocery store in Philadelphia, tell them to F off and keep your mask off. And then maybe if they kick you out of the grocery store, just have it delivered. We have to stop participating in this bullshit, period.
Oh, dropping the S-bombs already. It's coming in hot.
It's fortunate I only had one swear word in that one because I had about 7 on my mind as I was going through it.
And Jim's views are the views of Jim and not necessarily that of the show or the organization. I do want to warn everybody, though, about the seriousness of the symptoms you might experience if you catch yourself with COVID-19 BA.2 Omicron subvariant. The symptoms include headache, sore throat, body aches, severe fatigue. And I'm pretty sure that I catch the BA.2 Omicron subvariant after each week's podcast. So, we've talked on this podcast that no matter what, there's people going to be wearing masks for the foreseeable future. We've also, we haven't really discussed, though, the likelihood of the return of different restrictions and mandates and measures to combat COVID. So I'll go to Chris next. What do you think is the likelihood of other COVID restrictions and measures coming back, whether it be mail-in voting, outdoor dining, further lockdowns? What do you think?
For months, I've been saying that I think that come the fall with the midterm elections, happening, that COVID-19 is going to magically reappear and we're going to go back into lockdown. We're going to go back into 2020 all over again, because I think that this is mostly politically motivated. I see that the polls are showing the Democratic Party is in for a total walloping that come this November. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if they go back to mandates, mail-in voting, and just COVID-19 mass hysteria all over again. I think the Philadelphia situation is very concerning, because like you said and Jim said, the subvariant of Omicron, this BA2 subvariant, is so much less lethal than every other strain to date, that
Right.
Nancy Pelosi had it and she was completely fine. She's 80 something years old. So it's like, at what point do we just say we have to learn to live with this? We have to just move forward. I am very worried that this is going to creep up come early fall, and as the election gets closer, and we're just going to be right back to where we started from.
Yeah, Sam, I want to bring you in on this topic, because on this podcast for, I don't know, seemingly 2 straight years, every week we had some COVID story to talk about, and I was more joyed than anybody here to not talk about it the last month, because it seemingly was out of the news cycle. But here we go again. Is this something that's just going to be reoccurring for how long? Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Very possibly. This has been political from the beginning. As Chris alluded to, there was a strong desire to control what kind of votes could be counted in the 2020 election. I don't think it's quite the same now. They're not prepared to do in 2022 what they did in 2020. So I think that the COVID restrictions are being based on strictly on polls at this point. They're not following the science, if they ever were, but at least they had excuses early on. Now
Right.
they don't have any. It's the science basically says, well, this is endemic now, and it has followed the course of viruses, which is that it starts out more damaging to the body, and not as contagious. Then it gets more contagious and less damaging,
Right.
and then it pretty much becomes something you live with and you don't really worry about. But you do worry about it if there's a political angle there that you can exploit. As the writer H.L. Mencken said, that the object of politics is to keep people frightened of hobgoblins
Yeah.
all the time. So the hobgoblins that we have right now are very damaging to the Democrats and the Biden administration. And we'll probably be talking about some of those hobgoblins today. So coming back to the COVID is it's a good thing for them politically, they think, but it really isn't, because nobody's even saying that the polls are not saying that Biden has done a good job of handling COVID either.
Right.
So they lose whatever they say. Whatever they
Yeah.
say, they're going to lose.
Yeah, after Christmas, as constant listeners of the show know, I caught COVID. I think I got the Omicron variant, and after I got over it, I knew that I had the natural immunity to it, at least for a while, depending on what science you read. So I stopped caring completely about COVID, and then even going to stores and now and social gatherings and all of that, COVID is so far from my mind, and I think your average person thinks of that similarly. It's just like COVID kind of seems over. And now, though, in Philadelphia, at least, when you're walking by people with masks on, it's like, boom, a reminder that you need the government to protect you from this thing. And I think that's what that's kind of the point that you were making with that quote there. But
Well, what
yes.
depresses me about this happening in Philadelphia is that we live here in the People's Republic of Illinois, and every bad idea possible in COVID has been exercised here in Illinois. And
Sure.
I'm just waiting.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming. If it's going to happen in Philadelphia, it's going to happen in Chicago. It's going to
No
happen in
doubt.
Cook County, all across. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no science behind it. Just let people get on with your lives. As Sam Karnick said, this is endemic. We knew it was endemic a year ago. Putting on a mask to stop the spread is impossible. And the thing about I keep complaining about this stuff, but the thing about wearing a mask on an airplane. It's stifling. It's annoying. It makes, to me at least, I'm sure it is to the vast majority of people, but an airplane actually is one of the cleanest air systems you can be in indoors. They filter that air. I think it cycles through every 15 minutes and it's all cleaned, and it's fresh air from outside that comes in. So it's like, you couldn't be safer than on an airplane as far as air filtration, yet you still have to wear a mask when you don't have to wear it anywhere else. And I mean, we live, what happened here with COVID, and not actually the disease itself, but what the government's reaction to the pandemic has done, it's made a certain percentage of our population permanently mentally broken. I mean, to this day, and like I said, springtime is my favorite time of year. The wind's blowing, it's warmer, it's nice outside. I still see people walking around outside alone with masks on.
Right.
If you're doing that, you are mentally broken. There's just, and I'm sorry, you need to get some therapy, because that's not necessary. You are actually, that's a psychosis at that point. There's no reason for you to have a mask on to protect yourself outside with a nice breeze going. I mean, remember the beginning of this stuff? They were tracking down people out on the ocean, paddleboarding, and arresting them because they were putting others in danger, apparently, by breathing, by existing in the world. It's sick. It's sick.
What if a dolphin?
The pandemic is
caught
not
COVID,
nearly as
Jim?
dangerous as the sickness in our society right now, based on the government reaction to the disease.
What if a dolphin caught COVID, Jim, because of that paddleboarder? Do you
No.
not care about dolphins? Jeez.
I think the Earth would be better if we had COVID-resistant dolphins out there, just so that
Good
we're all
point.
safe.
Good point.
Stopping the spread of a very highly contagious disease is about as reasonable as thinking that you could control the temperature of the earth.